4, 3, 2, 1. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck, have fun to both runners.
Alright. And once again, it was Hex.
It's true, you know, I bring a curse, right? I can never guess correctly. That's not the point, though. It's not going to give either runner an advantage, actually, because we always sync the races, so... But even then, this is timed in-game time and not RTA, meaning that load times and stuff like that are not really that important. Hex hitting a wall there, it would seem, or giving a little bit of a luck tap, and Deku, unfortunately, did not corner that last corner there, up to the most optimal angle, so he's going to take a little bit of slowdown from both runners, it would seem. The City Escape is one of those stages that it's basically just all about hitting one major skip, and if you don't, it's a really technical stage with just a lot of smaller things that you want to try and get.
It looks like...
Ooh. Ooh.
Neither runner gets it.
Yeah. You know, Hex has been around in the game for quite a while, but Deku's been really pulling some weight recently. I mean, he only just got a 24 in about a month of playing this category, which is a low 24 at that, actually. Came within 1 second of bopping me, and he's only been playing this for a month, so... Deku is a real dark horse in this tournament.
Yeah. Thankfully, it looks like neither runner are strangers to skipless CE. So, very clean from both.
True, Deku getting a really fast rail there. Hex having a little bit of issues trying to get through to the last part of the stage, but it didn't seem like either runner stuck to the top of truck chase. There's one vertex right at the top that you can avoid. It's kind of hard to do, and not a lot of people really understand it, but the baseline is you want to go as left as possible and then try and angle yourself inwards.
Yes!
Just under 2 minutes for Deku.
Yeah, it's a really solid time. And Hex not coming out too far behind, so...
Just made it.
Alrighty, those small mistakes add up.
Yeah, it's true.
Tag is boring.
Just a little bit of a wrong turn and City Escape could cost you maybe a second or such. There's so many little type things that not a lot of people know to do.
Bigfoot reporting to headquarters. Intruder has been located.
Copy that.
Bigfoot is basically one cycler. You jump on the front box and jump into the enemy. It won't really move because it has way too little invincibility frames.
Both runners clearly know what they're doing with this boss.
True. Both getting really solid times.
And now we're going into Deku's home territory.
Yeah, Deku is really good at the knuckle stages, pulling off a 134, I believe 58 in the Centurion category. That's kind of what he's known for around it. It's not a great set though for Deku. Meanwhile, Hex getting a much preferred piece. It uses the wind tunnel to gain extra height, which is really good. Love to see that happen.
Yeah, this is
Center the 8th pillar for Hex. This is one of the worst piece trees. It's just really far out, and then you have to climb or do a slow jump to get up.
Already, that is like an 8-second difference. Splitting them up even further.
Yeah. You know, anything could happen though, right? We've seen a few deaths in Prison Lane during this tournament so far, I believe, which aren't really that expected for most runners. I mean, Prison Lane, it's rare that you ever see anyone who choke a lot of time in Prison Lane, but when it does happen, it's a huge hit on your mentality. You just don't expect it.
Yeah. Those unexpected things getting on your mentality. You can really tell when you're watching that.
Yeah, it's true.
Sometimes, like, right after that death, and they're going to reattempt things, and they're doing even sloppier than before. It's all about the ones who get to keep that calm head have a distinct advantage here.
Looks like Deku's coming out with 26, chat. Hex is not doing too bad though, to be fair. That jump was a little bit awkward, but other than that, he's not doing much to losing too much time.
Deku with the whistles. You gotta love it.
Whistling flex.
Ooh.
One on these elevator sections usually spells a good time. I'd say this is on pace to be 135? 134 maybe? Depending on how really well the descent section goes. Hex on the other hand is a little bit behind, but you know, the stage isn't over yet.
Ooh.
Yeah, Deku missed the last gate hop, which would save you around 2 to 3 seconds maybe. But taking the elevators in this stage are always slow, so you want to make sure that wherever possible you can do other things, such as jump on the gate there and then jump off of it. It gets you to the later part of the stage a little bit faster.
Looks like Hex will be finishing up about like 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, exactly 10.
Yeah. Things aren't looking too good for Hex, but Metal Harbor is a really technical stage, so Deku's going to need to execute really well here. Make sure that he doesn't lose too much time.
You can really tell anyone that's paid attention to any runner's matches and pools, Deku here, that he has been employing things he did not employ back in pools. You can tell that practice has paid off. Ooh!
Oh. Yeah, you're right though. I mean, Deku, I've been talking to him a lot recently, and he's been putting in a lot of work for practicing just for this bracket specifically. And yeah, that death was a little bit unfortunate, just slightly coming short of the edge of the loop. That's what I was talking about, of this stage you have to play really well in order to not lose too much time. It's so technical and there's so much that can go wrong. So Hex might actually be saving a little bit of time here on Deku. The ending was really nice. Oh no. Hex having a little bit of issues with the rocket scab. He's gonna miss it twice. He really needs to get it right now, otherwise this time is gonna be really close, but he doesn't manage to make it with 3 seconds to spare.
Let's go. That is really unfortunate.
Yeah. Looks like Deku is very comfortably in the lead right now. But speaking of technical stages, if you had enough of playing really well in Metal Harbor, then oh boy, you are not ready for Green Forest. So, we'll see how that goes. It's another one of those stages that you have to play really well to ensure that you don't lose a bunch of time. That's easily where Hex could save all the 40 seconds that he needs, having Deku mess up for that long. I mean, it's unlikely, but it can happen.
I'll make you eat those words.
There's no time to play games. You won't even get the chance. I'm the coolest. Oh, I see. Darn. Not bad, imposter.
It's a really nice shadow from Deku.
12 seconds, you love to see it.
This boss fight uses a mechanic called storage mostly, which is where if you hold down the B button and charge a spin dash, the period of time before you charge the spin dash, Sonic has this huge hitbox around him that is able to damage things and basically act as a somersault without actually doing the animation. So you can just walk up the shadow and hold the B button and you'll take damage. X is also going to do the same thing. Did get a high jump though, which is when Shadow jumps into the air, and it loses you a lot of time because you can't really attack him when he's in the air for obvious reasons. Alright, not getting Vertex for Deku, that's good. There are a lot of sharp edges and vertexes in the stage that if you just try and charge a Spin Dash over them, the game will be like, nope, and then throw you into the air. So you really don't want that to happen, because being in the air obviously loses you time.
Mini wall run does not work out for Deku today.
No, it's one of those things that some days you'll get it really well, and some days you'll just wake up and not be able to hit it. You have to be in a very precise spot to charge that Spin Dash, otherwise you just won't stick to the wall. Wilder could go for Warren though.
Oh no!
That's fine. The checkpoint's right there, so you don't take a huge lengthy death, but yeah, you can always go for second try as well. It's a very nice landing on the tree. No, Hex not deciding to go for Mini Warren at all. Deku getting a really good moonshot as well, so Deku is definitely comfortably in the lead, but this loop skip might set him back a little bit. He looks fine though.
Hex not even opting for the big wall run either.
Yeah, this is a wise move if you're confident with it.
Yep. We were covering this earlier. Consistency over
No problem.
risky time save.
It's true. A lot of runners like to go for consistent strats, and a lot of runners like to go for time save. Hex, no. Bungee skip is a rare death. You don't usually see many people fail this, but if the camera doesn't cooperate, then it's not really too hard
to lose. I have to hurry
to fail in
find
this spot.
Master Emerald.
Oh no, Deku! That's the one piece in Pumpkin Hill that you don't want, out of any piece. Every other piece one is perfectly acceptable. Some of them, not that great, but that piece in particular just never gives you a good side. Yeah, Deku, back into his home territory again, like you said earlier, Seafood. I mean, Deku is just really well known for hunting. It was basically all he did for a really long time before he started learning Hero Story. This set though, yeah, it's not great.
It's closer.
Ooh, got the nice one though. Being right there.
It's true, you can roll a 50-50 on this, and it can be on Church instead, which would really impact the run in an unfortunate way. Hex does get Pumpkin Family, and taking a route where you can't check Cold Iron Bars. If Hex gets Cold Iron Bars here, okay. All Pumpkin Piece ones apart from a few, no, it's not all Pumpkin Piece ones, but only Pumpkin Piece ones can spawn Cold Iron Bars, so if you get it, you really, really want to check this piece. It's the best piece to it. Oh no, Hex. That's such an unfortunate sad. So yeah, do you want to go into a little bit of detail on Zero Cycle?
Yes, play the stage good and you will make those pillars that move up and down, and you will get the fastest way up instead of having to sit around and wait.
Pretty much, yeah, so... Sorry, continue, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just going to say, like these pillars right here. But there's one main pillar later. It's right after what we have called the Walk of Shame.
Go ahead, the Walk of Shame. It's called that because if you miss the skip, you lose a bunch of time, and just feels slow walking up that, so it's just like you get time to reflect on missing the cycle, and then it's just really unfortunate. You really don't want to make any mistakes in the stage, because the cycles are really tight, and just turning a corner wrong could really cost you 0 cycle. Deku does miss it. Didn't catch where he went wrong, but... Hex with a really scary looking post over that, does manage to make it up though. And I think Deku got a nice clean 1 cycle. It's called 0 cycle because originally we thought the first cycle was the most optimal cycle that you could catch, but then they realized that in RTA it's possible you can catch the cycle before, so they just took a pawn away from 1 and made 0. Basically that. I'm not sure what cycle Hex has just got, but I think that's 3 cycle? That's 2nd cycle? I'm not too good with cycles on 0 or 1. I feel like each cycle loses you maybe about 10 seconds, so this looks like it could have been a 3rd cycle. So yeah, Hex is going to take a real impact here from this stage. He's going to hope to get really good RNG and Aquatic Mind to bring this back. Or just later in the stage, or game, or just really good gameplay in any of the stages in general.
Notice something? Oh, let's go. 3 fans.
It's true. You are pretty knowledgeable about this stage, so I'll take a backseat for now. You know, you have your little discussions about this stage.
Oh no, dented ceiling. But being able to come up right here, you get to do the clip out and try that way.
It's closer. I found
Yeah, that was really nice.
Yeah, the backup way of doing dented ceiling is not the easiest thing for a lot of runners, but I think Deku is fairly consistent at that, so that's not a problem.
It's true, and now Hex also entering the same stage, while Deku's progressing over to Route 101.
The president must be open.
Opting to read the hint first before going up. This is a top room route.
Yeah, that was some really bizarre piece checks, but I trust Hex knows what he's doing here. He's comfortable with his own strats.
This could end.
Ooh. Oh no, Hex! That is a really, really good piece 3, but it looks like he's struggling to think about routing for this.
Yeah.
Getting closer.
Going from that hallway, you have 4 possible destinations, right? You can either get right back into core, which that piece would have been better to go down and go by the other than a minecart enemy, which unfortunately he took the top route. But the other choices, which would have been really cool, is if it was in Ghost Room and you could get that monitor clip and just go straight over.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, Deku got really close to falling off the edge of the stage there, which is something that you don't see too often in Route 101, but it can happen. When it does, you lose just a ridiculous amount of time to it, so...
Almost, Sonic. Just a few more minutes.
Yeah, Route 101, there's not a whole lot to talk about. I mean, you can't lose too much time with them hitting cars and not getting the right rings for a boost, but... What are your thoughts on this race so far?
Surprisingly very close, but Deku has had a consistent lead the entire time.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. I mean, Deku's been really dominant this whole race, and Hex has put up a good show for himself, to be fair. I mean, his PB being quite a lot behind Deku's PB by itself, so to keep up this pace with Deku is quite impressive. And again, we're going into the most technical part of the run after this, so Desert is definitely something to watch out for. If you thought Metal Harbor and Green Forest are really hard to not lose time on, then get ready for the sand stages.
Yep. Desert contains one of the 3 Sonic stages you actually have to play. Pyramid Cave.
It's true! I really like Pyramid Cave. It's a cool stage to do optimally. It's just, in a hero run, it's so anxiety-inducing because there's just so much that can go wrong. Speaking of so much that can go wrong, welcome to Hidden Base. I mean, fingers crossed we get a good show from both runs here.
Try shooting strange-looking walls. You can find your way out.
Oh, nice. So yeah, Deku hitting a really, really clean ball off. That requires 2 pretty precise pulse hovers. I believe from not standing on the door, the pulse hover is frame perfect. If you stand on the door, you have 1 or 2 frames maybe extra than you would if you didn't. And pulse hovering off, you need to get a lot of height as well to make it through the gap in the wall. Hex is now also in Hidden Base though.
Looks like Hex is about a minute behind. I don't remember what time Deku left into Desert with.
We'll see about what time Deku reaches 1509. Yeah, it looks like Hex is really going to have to play catch up now to win this race. Oh no. That's a really close death for Hex. Or close to death experience. That pulse hover just wasn't relying. That pulse hover was just not being reliable at all. Definitely taking the right decision to turn back around and not chance that. That's a really good hidden base though from Deku. Wow, wait.
143.
Okay.
Let's go.
I mean, it looked good, but I didn't realize it was that good. That's a really nice hidden
was a little
base.
tough.
And Hex, yeah, jumping a little bit. I don't know if that was too early or if that was just angled a little bit away from the wall.
And here comes Sonic.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, this is definitely my favorite Sonic stage. There's just so much cool stuff that you can do in the stage. It also introduces super bounces, which are always pretty fun because you can just go over walls at that point. You'll see that pretty soon.
And this is the home of the skip named after Hex. So
That's
let's
true.
see.
Any Hex skippers in chat? We'll have to see if you want to go for it. I mean, I'm counting on Hex going for it, and, you know, if he doesn't, then imagine ruining your own legacy. It's understandable though, the skip is incredibly inconsistent. Hex has managed to pull it off in every single one of his races so far, I believe first try, which is kind of crazy, so shoutouts for that.
Getting a 201, widening that gap even more.
It was hard to compete with Deku's hidden base for sure. That was a really good show.
Take it with a very clean snake skip. Unfortunately, the camera doesn't want to be very clean today.
No. When has SA2's camera ever been nice? Let's be honest.
Yes!
Deku leaving with a 141.
It's a respectable tournament time.
Huh. No problem.
He didn't really go for anything super risky, like he went for a nice snake skip, really consistent. and go for the last grab bounce, so considering that, a 141 is pretty nice. Hex, though, coming up on the area. Will he do it?
But Deku's in Deku Chamber.
It's true. This is the stage that Deku is known for probably the most. Embarrassing Blades is a pretty good P-Swan. You like to see core P-Swans? There's two things you can do from core P-Swan. You can Death Strat and make Drum Basher really mad, or you can just run back to red and hope that your piece is there. Well, I mean, you can get a hint, and then if your piece is in red, then you're really happy with that and you run back to red. If your piece is not in red, you just complain. Hex is gonna go for Hex Skip, let's go! And he hits it first try every time, this kid. Every time. What a crazy gamer. Like, that's just insane. What's that, like... Is he 5-0 in Hex Skips now?
And Deku with a 51 Death Chamber.
Yeah, it was also a really nice Death Chamber from Deku. Let me not take attention away from that. That was...
Yeah, this is
good
perfect.
shows from both gamers, though.
Huh? Who's there? What?
King
the-
Boom Boo. Hold up left and press B simulator. Nah, there's a lot more to it than that, really. It's... This boss is surprisingly technical compared to what people would assume it is, considering that most of what you see is people just say, yeah, you hold up left.
Yo, Hex
Ooh.
with Roasted Keys and Sniper.
That is a really good set for Hex. I'm not sure if this confirms anything, but I'm sure somebody in chat might know. Anyway, yeah, like I was saying, Deku did hit a good cat boost, which is where you get hit by the firewall to boost into the hourglass. And it looks like his angle is a little bit off for one cycle, so it's gonna cost him a little bit of time there. You wanna have a pretty solid angle to make sure that you get all 4 hits on this ghost. Hex took a death strat? I'm not sure if you remember, but he had his piece too. No, Hex.
Hex.
Buddy.
I think he realized. Wandering Ghost.
Alright, panic is over. That could have gone really badly if he didn't realize. Deku does manage to make it out of King Boom Boo though, which is good. The next boss is significantly harder, in my opinion. I mean, Egg Golem is just the one boss that has killed every single one of my runs throughout my entire SA2 career. So it's always nice to see people pull it off really clean. It's on 2 bounces. Oh wow, Egg Golem does snipe him off of the platform with the 3rd bounce there. It was lined up perfectly, but Egg Golem's aura, after hitting the ground, just kind of swept him away.
Ooh, just barely in time. Unfortunately, couldn't get the arm hit because the Golem was a little too fast. Solid overall.
Egg Golem does this, and that's why I hate it. It's such a bad boss. I think we should just make restricted skips, but instead of restricting skips, we remove Egg Golem from the game and then call it a new category. Hero story based %. How about that?
I thought base percent was an alt swap category.
Is it? Oh, true, it is.
Base percent, where you just play as Metal Sonic and Chowwalker.
True. Hex getting a really good King Boom Boo 1 cycle as well. So he's not going to lose too much time. In fact, he's probably saving time with Deku here.
Yo, Deku with the first try. Let's go.
Use me, Deku. Splicing the run on air. And he's out of bounds though. Let's go. So yeah, for context, if you haven't seen Bofa before, you have to break Bofa into boxes, and first try is significantly harder than second try. We have a theory that it's something to do with how the boxes are loaded in, but we don't really have a setup for first. Like everyone has a different way of doing first try compared to second try, and some of them work better than others. And it's just we're at a really strange place right now with first try and Bofa.
Oh no!
Oh, that's gonna sting Hex a lot. Like I said, this boss is just really mean.
I've noticed that the timing can be very unfortunate when you go for the profit bounces, because the egg column will move its head when you go for the homing attack. I'm not sure. Maybe not just profit bounces, but any kind of super bounce.
Egg Column can do this thing where you'll just be like on a really good path towards his head, and then suddenly he'll decide, you know what, it's a good time to look to the left. And that's it. You just look straight to the left, and then his head is completely out of your reach.
Deku cleanly out of Eternal Engine, back into his home territory.
True, a lot of runners have been goal ringed there, which is basically the act of completely missing the goal ring, which is not very hard to do because you're basically going into it blind, so you don't want that to happen. You lose maybe 1 minute and 40 seconds if it does. That would have put Hex back in the game though. Taking this piece 1? Deku. I'm gonna need explanations after this round. This is why you're not supposed to take this piece 1. The sets that you get with her are just completely awful.
It's close.
9 times out of 10. Hex is out of bounds though.
It's closer.
Let's go.
I found him.
At the end of the day, a bottom top mid is not a terrible order.
Yeah, I mean, you could get way worse sets with this piece 1 in particular. This not being a good set at all, but it's definitely way better than getting some of the other sets that can spawn with this piece 1. Did Hex have a little bit of camera trouble there? I looked a little bit shaky for a second, but he looks like he's on a good route now, so... judging by his small adjustments, I'd say he might be a little bit worried about angle, which... we'll hope that he gets to the goal ring.
Very well. If that's how you want to play, I will take it from you.
Welcome to the Rouge boss fight. Basically, for the Rouge boss fight, the more time you spend in the air, the less that Rouge actually moves. And the more time you spend drill diving, the more active hitbox Knuckles has around him to do damage, so you'd like to do a balance of being in the air and hitting at the same time. And by doing that, you just spam drill dive. So that the time that you spend in the air, Rouge doesn't move, and the time that you spend drill diving to the ground actually hits Rouge.
Let's see, will RNG save Hex at all today?
Oh no. This is like the worst of all piece 1s that you should take. Hate to see it. Deku coming up on one of those blink and you miss it skips. I know at the start of this tournament he was doing CGS, but yeah, I'm pretty sure he's fairly confident with CGSS now, so we'll see the slightly more optimal skip. He does go for a pause buffer though, which is slightly more uncommon. I mean, you saw Tefus do it at the early parts of this tournament before.
It looked like Hex was a little confused where that last piece was, but mid, bottom, bottom.
It looks like Hex has found his way eventually, which is good.
No problem.
Mid, bottom, bottom is a really good set combination though. You love to see it, especially with this piece 1, which can be very temperamental. So yeah, I hope you saw like all the 5 seconds of crazy gadget that you wanted to see on Deku's end, because that skip, you basically just jump out of bounds and you're straight into the goal ring. It's a really cool thing to see. Oh yeah, another really nice segment fight from Deku. We saw one of those earlier actually. He seems to have mastered them up.
Very clean.
Basically, for Eggman 2, there's a certain combination of attacks and movement that you can do that makes Eggman always shoot his laser away from you in the same place. And if you do that, then you can just change your shots at him and you won't really do anything about it because he's in his attack mode. Let's see if Deku ironed out his final rush skip though since the last round. It looks really low, but I think that's just because he jumped off the later part of the rail than what I do. Yeah, that should be fine. Just gonna go for fast fall, which is a slightly more optimal method, but I'd say a little bit more risky. Just due to the timings of stuff. You have an extra thing that you want to time.
It looks like it's time for Hex to try and catch back up.
Oh, let's go with CGS gaming. Okay, so this is the skip that I was talking about earlier, that Deku did in the earlier stages of this tournament. It's very similar to CGSS in the sense that you only get to play like a tenth of the stage, really.
No.
Oh, whoa, Deku!
Calling it early, didn't even want to try it, thinking he was too low.
He was too low? Oh no. I was too busy focusing on Hex's CGS attempts. Yeah, no, this could be exactly what Hex needs, actually. If Deku keeps doing this, then... Yeah, as I was saying, CGS is just one of those things where you see maybe a tenth of the stage and then you fall straight into the goring. I think skips like that are really funny. It's just convenient how the goring is placed so straight in your path from clipping out of bounds. You have to hold an angle, obviously, but you can basically just make it straight to the end of the stage. And Deku is trying a very similar thing in Final Rush right now. Where you hold a ski gravity angle for a really long time, and then you eventually just find your way falling into the goring. He's having a lot of issues though. This is Hex's chance, really. I mean, I hate to say it, but
Deku is still inflicted with the FR disease.
yeah. And this is really good for the Hex fan base, though, actually. I mean, Hex has all the shots in the world that he has to get back into this race now if Deku keeps making mistakes like this.
But Hex is very low on health. Oh no.
Commentator's curse strikes again, so it would seem like Hex doesn't really understand the manip that well. Yeah, I don't think he's going for any sort of manip, really. You can just play out this boss fight normally, though, and with enough hits, he'll eventually pass out. Pass out? Yeah, it just takes a nice rest on the floor. Me, when I go so family friendly, I can't even say die. I end up saying pass out.
Yes!
Technically, neither of those happened. You're just breaking his machine.
That's true. You're right, actually. Deku is out of Final Rush, though. It looks like he's going to be wrapping up very shortly, unless Shadow gives him about 2 minutes worth of mistakes. Actually, is Hex on... You know, I don't want to say because I'm going to commentate his code strings, but what's Hex's PB?
Before this is over,
I'm not sure.
true power of chaos control.
Alright, Deku's looking to wrap this up pretty quick. If you've ever played Guitar Hero, basically Shadow 2 is that. You just tap in the right rhythm and hope that he doesn't do some weird things.
I am the ultimate light.
Game over, Shadow.
There we go. 27-17 from Deku. Huge GG's.
Let's go. Believe the pattern is supposed to be... Well, I don't know how you get that first hit off, but after that first hit, once Shadow lands on the ground, then you start your next cycles,
I did it.
and then once he jumps, that's when you do the third hit. And you just rinse and repeat that pattern.
Ah, apparently Hex got a low 28. That would make sense. So he's not playing within too much of his PB right now, actually. He's gonna be with like just less than a minute of his PB, provided that Shadow goes well, so huge GG's to Hex as well for pulling off this race. It was a good one.
Yes, very nice. And let's see how Hex is finishing off.
Clean Shadow 2 will grant you around 16 seconds here, so we'll hope for something like that for Hex, but the rhythm's kind of hard to get down.
Oh no.
What just happened?
Light dash off of the stage.
I've never seen that happen before. That is a really unfortunate way to die. Just a horribly placed light dash there. I don't even think it was entirely Hex's fault. I mean, I would never have seen that coming. Yeah.
Unfortunately, this means that Hex is now out of the tournament.
It's true, he had a really good ride, I think. I mean, I beat him in polls, we had a good race. I was only a couple seconds off, actually, so I think Hex has done pretty well. He's also got a good few PBs in this tournament, so we will be having to say farewell to him, but overall, congratulations to his performance.
I would like to take this moment to remind everyone this is double elimination, and even though this was only Hex's only match in bracket, the way we did upper and lower pools, we made it third and fourth place in lower pools got put straight into losers bracket.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
That was Hex's one shot to get out. But up next, we've got... What do we got? We have Tethys versus Nug.
I'm so excited for this race. This is... alright. I'm not discrediting any of the other matches today. I think they were all really good, and I'm also excited for Stella versus FaZe later, but this match in particular, Tethys versus Nugrunner, dude. I cannot wait for this to get underway. This is going to be such a sick race. I'm actually not too sure who I'm joined on by commentary with us, but I should be sticking around for comms on this race, which is also really, really exciting. I'm so glad that I was able to drop in on this. Yeah, question marks and cryptic, let's go.